the beautiful weather. Thank you for the health of each person that is here today. And we ask, Father, that you cover everyone who is not here. Father, we thank you for the families, each family member that is represented here, each department head, each commissioner, all of our staff, all of our guests. We surrender to you, and we know that yours is the power and authority and the kingdom and the glory. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Ms. Florence?
We'll go over our visitors for today. We'll start with Christy Thornton from EMA. We will hear from the Sheriff's Office. I believe Chief Murphy's here. Sheriff's out of town. Attorney Clint Graves with Gilpin Gavan, and Mike Dunn from Stiefel. Dr. Charles Ledbetter, the Superintendent of the Pike Road City Schools, and Hayward Hosh with Maynard Cooper and Gale. Michael Burdell from the DA's office, along with Mike Thomas. Executive Director Ashley Ledbetter with the Montgomery Area Business Committee for the Arts. President CEO Ron Simmons from River Region United Way. Christy.
Can Doug hear us? Doug on the line?
He's,
Doug, let me hear him. Doug? I want to make sure. I don't hear him. Can he speak? I want to make sure he's it.
He has to unmute himself.
Huh?
He has to unmute himself.
Okay. Make sure you unmute himself then. Come on, Kristen.
Good morning. COVID numbers seem to be doing about the same thing they've been doing over the last few weeks, but we have started seeing a downtick in our numbers. Comparing the 1st to the 5th of last year to the 1st and the 5th of this year, we're actually trending lower than last year. The 1st through the 5th of October 2020 was 1.22%, and the 1st through the 5th of October on this year is only at 0.71% increase in cases.
Can you hear me, Florence? Can you hear me?
yes,
We can
thank
hear
you.
now.
We have 190,752 doses of the COVID vaccine, bringing us up to 48.20% of our total population that has been vaccinated. We have amped up our efforts to try to make sure the COVID vaccine is as accessible as possible. So we are doing multiple vaccine efforts, either football games, pop-ups with our churches, going to departments that are requesting it come to them specifically to help their departments, just to keep them from having to travel to get it. We bring the vaccine to them. And we've also been helping out some of our Lowndes County partners with Beulah Church out in the county. So we're trying to make sure to keep those efforts going. I know there's been some question about how this breaks down as far as age before. 13.6% of our 0 to 17-year-olds have been vaccinated, 36.2% of our 18 to 29-year-olds, 53.1% of our 30 to 49-year-olds.
Come in. Can you hear me?
Yes, God.
Amen. Somebody talk to him.
50-year-old to 64 has been 69.7% vaccinated. 65 to 74 is 82.3% vaccinated. And our 75 and older are 77% vaccinated. So we continue these efforts. We're still working on different programs to work on some incentives with Partners in Health and the Wellness Coalition and kind of things like that, just kind of keep them going. We have completed 2 active shooter exercises over the last 2 weeks, one with Auburn University, Montgomery, I'll get it out in a minute, and one with Montgomery Police and Montgomery Fire. So we're keeping to reach out to other departments and agencies to see if they would like to conduct exercises other than active shooter, just to give some broader expansion of what our capabilities are. Any questions? All right, we actually have to get out. We're supposed to go over to West Montgomery. We've got some reports of some potential flooding damages from yesterday, so we're going to get out of y'all's hair for the day.
Thank you.
We can review the items for the formal session.
Okay.
We've got an alcohol license application for a Latino festival on October 10th. Consider a grant agreement between the Montgomery County Commission and the Alabama Department of Youth Services. Consider a renewal of an MOU with the City of Montgomery for the Internet exchange. Consider an amendment to the agreement with County Attorneys Tyrone Means and Thomas Gallion. Consider a final pay application to W.S. Newell and Sons for renovations at Old Selma Road, Dean Park. Consider miscellaneous appropriations to agencies. We have had one addition of $2,000 by Commissioner Walker to the Cancer Wellness Foundation. Are there any others?
Yes, $5,000 to the ECHO. And, you know, I thought I made a correction at our last meeting. There was a $2,000 appropriation for the county extension, and it was somehow confused with a $1,750 contribution for the Capri Theater. And I just got a thank you note from the Capri for $2,000. When and I tried to correct that somehow.
Right, we'll,
I mean, I don't want to take the money back from Capri, but the extension service definitely needed the $2,000 for a specific program. So I want to make sure that they get $2,000 instead of $1,750. I don't know if they did or not, but how much they
Will.
got, but if you would, please check that.
will.
Pardon?
She said it was switched.
It was switched on here, but I got a thank you note for $2,000 from the Capri.
We'll check on it.
Yeah.
Consider miscellaneous appropriations to education. Consider miscellaneous appropriations from designated revenue. Consider a bid award to Janie King of Montgomery for janitorial services at Elton Dean Park and Montgomery County Activity Center. Consider a bid award to Outdoor Obsessions for landscape maintenance services at Industrial Park. Consider a position fill request for the Board of Registrars for an administrative support specialist. Consider position fill request for the detention facility for an administrative support associate and a corrections officer trainee. Consider position fill request for the engineering department for 2 county road equipment operators 2 and operators 1 and a county road equipment operator 2 and an engineering aide 2. Consider position fill request for information systems for an IT specialist network infrastructure and IT manager systems. Consider position fill request for the Sheriff's Office for a Deputy Sheriff trainee, a Deputy Sheriff Sergeant, and a Deputy Sheriff Cadet. Consider position fill request for the Youth Facility Detention for 2 juvenile detention officers. Consider travel training requests for engineering and the Sheriff's Office. Those are our items for the formal session. Now we'll hear from the Sheriff's Office regarding bid awards to Patriot Services.
Hold it for a minute. Where's the letter? Did you get one of these, Dan?
Yeah, I did. I just got it.
Isaiah, did you get one of these?
I haven't seen it.
That's a request from Troy State University, Dr. Hawkins, who's asking for assistance for the Rosa Parks Museum. They have never come to the commission before, all of these years, to ask for any kind of assistance. But they are asking the commission, along with the city, to help them with some renovation for the Rosa Parks Museum. And tune of $100,000. And like I said, they've never been to us before. So I just want the commission to consider that. Troy's been a great neighbor. And we know how important the Rosa Parks Museum has been as far as tourism. So we need to pay close attention and decide what we want to do with that as a group. How much we have left in the donated revenue?
In
The revenue?
designated revenue or?
Yeah. Oh, I see it. Okay. We can come back to it, but I want to put it on our mind in our information session. Chief? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. There's a bid award to Patriot Services for inmate security guard services. Amendment number 2 to a contract with Gulf States Distributors for law enforcement footwear. And amendment number 2 to contract with ICS Jail Supplies for mattresses. Does anybody have any questions?
What you got now?
Back into information session. The chief is talking about something with the sheriff. Okay, I was saying, okay. Next agenda?
So items 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah,
next agenda.
yeah.
Now we'll hear from Clint Graves and Mike Dunn, item number 4.
Good morning. Glad to be here. Clint will go over with you. There's a resolution in your package to consider a bond financing for renovation work on the jail. The amount penciled in on the resolution right now is approximately $30 million. Before that's voted on in a couple of weeks, we are waiting to hear what the more accurate number might be. There's also a provision in the resolution that allows for the addition of some refunding debt, if any of that makes economic sense and is, the commission is interested in doing so. So between now and the next meeting, we will go over some of those possibilities with you as well. Clint?
Thank you. I'll just add, what's before you is what we call a parameters resolution. It sets the parameters of the bonds that would be issued by the Public Building Authority respect to this bond issue. As it stands, it says not to exceed $30 million. These will be taxable or tax-exempt bonds. And I think we have a fixed years of 30 years. So.
Okay. This will go through the Public Building Authority like you've done in the past. So the bonds will be secured from a lease from the county to the PBA. This is the traditional way you guys run jail and courthouse type financing. Interest rates in the day's market for the 30-year deal would be in the range of around 3%.
Not in detail. One thing we talked about was seeing if you got two people.
I'm just curious. Is this something, a proposal that you're bringing to us? Is this something that we asked for?
It was requested of us to run some numbers for a deal of approximately $30
Who
million.
requested it? Who requested that?
Because of the rehabilitation
Pardon?
work that needs to be done.
Who'd you receive the request from?
Florence and I requested that they do some, just check the numbers.
Well, this is, I mean, these are commitment documents that I saw in the package, and just took me by total surprise. Didn't know anything about, we were even thinking about issuing bonds to pay for maintenance on anything at the jail, and when I see these documents, and, I mean, this is,
It's not supposed to be a commitment.
well, that's what they are,
Okay.
you know.
We're not asking for any vote on this today.
Yeah, but all he has to do is say next agenda, and then there's a vote. So before it gets there, it should at least be discussed by this commission, and
Exactly.
I don't know anything about this. So you guys are, you guys are a little bit premature, as far as I'm concerned, because I don't know anything about $30 million worth of new bonds and refunding and all this. I read all of that, and it was just new to me. I know there's some maintenance that needs to be done at the jail. I don't know of any discussions on how we're going to get it done, or how much are we going to get it done, or even how much it's going to cost. All of these discussions need to be made before we have you guys before us, presenting us with an opportunity to issue new bonds and create new debt for Montgomery County. So this is premature.
Well, maybe this is a good time to have that conversation. We know that we've got a significant amount of jail upgrades and repairs to make. So as a commission, I thought, I mean, I've had this conversation. I remember us talking about it. But what is our plan to pay for?
I don't think it's a good time to have the conversation, because the people that needs to be involved in the conversation aren't here. We don't even, I want to know what it is that needs to be done up there, how much it's going to cost, and we need to look at if there are any other means of paying for it, how we need to pay for it, whether or not we need to issue new bonds. We can't have that conversation today, this morning.
Haven't we been provided those documents?
You may
for
have
us?
been, but I haven't.
We've
No.
seen some summary numbers about
Okay.
the repairs. We've looked at other campus-wide, any other things, some roof issues, and so we are pulling those numbers together. But
Did PH&J look at that?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
We
PH&J was not elected by anybody in Montgomery County to determine whether or not to put this county in debt.
Well, nobody said they were.
Well, you're saying that all these things have been done. Nobody told me they were being done. I haven't seen the documents, and that's what I'm saying.
No, all I saw was just some numbers that were presented several meetings ago.
Right.
which-
Preliminary
Yeah,
numbers.
they weren't in a whole lot of great detail, and I
Right.
think the last thing we said that they were not a large enough, the print itself left a little to be desired in terms of trying to
Okay.
understand what specifically
So we were
the
presenting, I mean,
numbers were.
everybody
But-
remembers getting a preliminary.
Yeah,
It
but
was
I- but
nothing
it wasn't- it was
final and no
nothing in-
decision was
There
made.
was nothing in detail that allowed for an intelligent decision. And
Right.
I'm having trouble getting on my computer at home. I can't even access the agenda so that I can read and be intelligent about what we're talking about. So I have some concerns.
Well, I have read and I am intelligent about it, and these documents, if we authorize the chairman to sign and we authorize the administrator to sign, we're committed. And I'm not at that point. We are ahead of ourselves on this. If these documents exist, I need to see them. Nobody, you can look at my computer, nobody sent them to me. Look at my desk, I haven't seen them. I am a vote. I represent 45,000 constituents. So if you've decided to do something, please let me in on it.
Nobody's trying to
You're
keep
not gonna
anything
leave
from
out.
anybody.
So
It
we
was
can put-
during
we
a
can put
meeting.
that- all this stuff we can
It
put
was
on
public.
hold till everybody gets some information, some pertinent information. Let's make sure everybody got this information.
Yes, sir, and
This
we'll,
week. This week.
And
Because
the good
wrong-
news is all of our meetings are videoed and documented, so we're not making it up. We've talked
Well,
about it.
show me the meeting where this was decided.
Well, nothing was decided, Commissioner Harris. That's our.
Or
that- that's
discussed.
what- That's what we do.
Or discussed.
Okay. It was definitely
Just show me
discussed.
that video.
Okay,
I mean, I'm not senile.
well,
We didn't talk about it. We just had some numbers thrown at us. We didn't really talk about it in any detail.
right. It was just presented. Something was, some information, preliminary information was presented to us, and it's our decision to make.
Personally, I think we need to be jailing fewer people and finding other means of doing the justice system. That's what I think. I think we spend too much money trying to house folks when we should have some alternatives to incarceration. That's my position.
I'm not questioning whether or not we need to fix the jail. That's not my question at all. It's this process. You know, if we're going to decide as a commission to create debt for the county, then that ought to be something that's thoroughly discussed and a decision is made where we're going to get the money from, how we're going to do it, and all these things. And I just don't recall that conversation. I don't recall those meetings. And that's where I am. I just think that this part of it usually comes when we're about ready to move. So this is a bit premature for me.
We're happy to meet with you and go over all the details on the finances.
Well, this is not time to meet with you,
We will,
because we might find the money somewhere else.
You let me know.
It's what
when
I'm
it is
saying.
time, we're happy.
I don't even know if we've even talked about that. So after I'm satisfied, then we can move on to determine whether or not that's possible. When I saw those documents in there, I'm wondering, I'm saying, have I missed something? Have I been asleep? But no, I haven't, because I don't remember it. I know that there's some things that need to be done at the jail. But issuing another $30 million in bonds and then a possibility of refunding the old bonds that we have out there, I don't remember that discussion.
We're going to, she gonna make sure you get everything to everybody. Florence?
yes, sir.
Yeah. And, we'll get in touch with you. Okay?
Absolutely. You let us know.
Thank you.
What's next?
I'm sorry. We'll hear from Dr. Ledbetter and Mr. Hosh regarding the Pike Road City Schools ad valorem tax.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So thank y'all for hearing from us. I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Hodge to kind of give you the details of why we're here and go ahead, sir.
Can you all, good morning, everyone. I'm Hayward Hush from Maynard Cooper. Do I need to keep my mask on, Mr. Chairman, for this?
No.
Okay, I want to make sure everyone can hear me because we'll be rather brief. If you notice the resolution, the caption as actually says what the resolution is about in some detail. Thanks to the help of this commission, the Pike Road community will be conducting a school tax election today, just within the city of Pike Road. The tax is being levied or voted upon, rather, in accordance with some very old law, the 1927 School Code, which provides that upon the outcome of the election, the county commission will meet and canvass the results and declare the results. And that is what this resolution does. That's all it does. This is, I said, a very old law.
Excuse me, it was kind of confusing for me in reading through. Is the election today?
Yes, sir.
And we're to vote on whether or not,
No, sir, there's no vote today.
what are these?
Well, the commission's procedures, as I understand, requires that the resolution, a proposed resolution, be brought to the commission at one meeting for consideration at the following meeting. So that's what we're doing. We're just here
It probably
to...
should have been brought before the vote. I mean, they're voting today.
Yes, sir, they're voting today, but we will
and
ask the commission to canvass the results at the next meeting. We're just here to introduce the resolution in accordance with your procedures. We would not be here but for your procedures. You're correct. We would wait till after the vote was taken. But, and that'll be tonight, tomorrow morning, whatever.
For a point of clarification, I think essentially, when he's canvassing, as I understand, canvassing the results essentially means that's where the commission certifies the election results.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be at the next meeting, it's on here so that y'all realize and know we're just trying to be here before the next meeting, so it's on the next agenda.
That's right. Yeah, the actual vote
The
will...
vote's taking place today. The votes will come in this evening, but it won't be official until y'all approve it.
Which we'll be asking to be done at the next commission meeting, October 19. We're just here to present the resolution in accordance with your procedures, which I understand is you consider it, you have it introduced at one meeting, and you know, actually take it up at the next. So that's the only reason we're here today. There's no action being requested today, just an explanation.
So they can present it as a waived rule item at the next meeting, or you can agree to put it on the next agenda.
That's my whole point. This is, you know, I don't have a problem with what our duties are under this thing, but to bring it to us on the day of the election, we should have done this a while back. Would you agree?
Well, no, sir. The law requires you to meet 4 days after the election. We're not asking the commission to do that. We will just wait to the next regularly scheduled meeting rather than request a special one. But we understand the commission prefers to hear about a resolution before it is requested to be voted upon. So we're actually asking for the vote.
In my mind, it's awfully risky. It's awfully risky to chance a waive rule.
I'm
It's
not
risky.
familiar with
It
waiving
takes
a rule.
everybody to agree to waive a rule.
Well,
They're
we're
not
not,
requesting a waiver.
we're not
She said
asking.
at the next meeting they would.
No,
No,
that's the reason for the presentation today, to avoid a waived rule. And so it's being presented today for your agreement to put it on the next agenda after the election has taken place.
Perhaps our attorney can better explain the process and procedure. That's all they're doing, is following our process and procedure.
This is what we've done in the past. You cannot do anything until the tax is passed, which would be midnight tonight. You would know it's a post-vote procedure that has to be done, and it's not complicated. We've done it for different things.
Well, I'm not, that's not it. But when I saw those dates, you know,
I mean, I think they just here to tell you what's going to happen if the tax passes tonight.
No, that's correct, sir. If it passes, we'll ask the commission to actually canvass and certify on the 19th at the regular meeting. If it does not pass, there probably won't be any need for it, really. So
Right. We
this is
couldn't
just-
take action on this until our next meeting,
Yes, ma'am.
period.
But, right, and we're here today because we don't want to ask for a rule waiver. We're trying to follow the procedures of the.
Correct.
That's exactly right, yes, sir. This is just the commission's request, and we're happy to comply. It's a coincidence that the vote happens to be today, you know, but we didn't want to ask for a special meeting or a waiver. We just wanted to get in
And we
line with how you
appreciate that.
normally, you know, proceed. That's all. We will, of course, if the vote passes, we will fill in the resolution with the actual results. As you notice, they're blank in what you have before you, but that should be the only change. It is a, you know, a
So, Mr.
standard.
Chairman, I recommend we place this resolution pending updates based on the election today. I'd suggest we place this on our next agenda for a vote.
Guess everybody agree?
Yeah, I'm just questioning the procedure.
Okay, all right, next agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Next, we'll hear from Michael Burdell and from Mike Thomas. Right. But I understand he wanted to speak to that.
Good morning, Commissioners. We are asking you to respectfully ratify continuation of a VAWA grant for for calendar year 2022 that will prosecute and hopefully reduce violence against women.
How much is that grant?
Grants for $93,000. There's a $24,000 match that would be covered by the District Attorney's Office without having any financial impact on the county.
Next agenda.
Thank you.
Michael, before you step out, yesterday, the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office took the time to attend a career fair at my children's school, and they brought Zurge, the comfort dog. And it was just a huge hit. It was very meaningful. It was very impactful on all the students. And I just wanted to thank y'all. I know how busy you are, and I know how thin everyone's time is, but that was a great thing to do, and it was impactful to the school, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you very, very much, and Zerg is quite
Zerg.
the public favorite, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Ashley Ledbetter with the Montgomery Area Business Committee for the Arts.
Good morning.
Morning.
I know it, but it doesn't, yeah.
Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to speak to y'all today. I think that you all should have received a letter from me on behalf of our Board of Directors asking that the County Commission consider renewing your membership with MABCA. I hope that you all have received that. The request is for $2,000 for the annual membership. Are there any questions or discussion?
Have you all been doing anything as relates to this particular group during the pandemic in terms of the arts?
Have we been doing anything during the pandemic for the arts? Our goal is, or our mission is to facilitate business support of the arts. And so during this time, we have really worked with our arts groups to see how we can support them because of all the postponements, the closings, and things like that. So in that respect, yes, but if you're asking me like, and I'm not sure if you're asking about public art or something like that, no, we have not. Are there any other questions?
Next agenda.
Okay. The next thing is that you should have received an invitation for our 35th Annual Business in the Arts Awards. It's going to be virtual again this year, so I printed out a piece of paper for it. But hopefully you have received this. We are, because of everything that has happened in the last year and a half, we are changing our format for the event where we're going to be highlighting our arts groups here and giving them an opportunity to kind of reintroduce themselves to us and tell us what they have going on and how the pandemic has affected them, how they've creatively adapted, and to thank their business sponsors. So that's going to be a little bit different. Rhonda, I think you had, or Commissioner Walker, I think that you had wanted to purchase a table, and we appreciate that so very much and your support. If any of you would like to attend virtually, that information should be on your email. The next thing is that last year and every year, the Business Committee for the Art houses our permanent collection here at the County Commission. And last year's award piece was created by Ilana Hagler, who was a professor at Alabama State University. And she created a series of birds, and this is the piece from last year that will be hanging here in your offices. So just wanted to present that to you. And then the last thing is that during our last board meeting, the Board of Directors elected a commissioner to our board, and you should be receiving a letter regarding that. And at that time, in discussing with Lawrence, that you all could select a person who you would like to serve on our board. So, do y'all have any questions for me?
Well, thank you for adding a commissioner to your board.
Absolutely. Thank you for your support.
Expresses, your level of value of this commission. We appreciate that, and we appreciate what y'all do.
I appreciate what y'all do. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll hear from Ron Simmons with River Region United Way.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Austin Polson. I am the Associate Director of Resource Development at the River Region United Way. Just want to say thank you all for everything you do for Montgomery County. We're so appreciative for your efforts and the great work that you all do for the Commission as well as the citizens of Montgomery County. I came to United Way about 3 years ago and became Donor Relations Specialist in Resource Development. So I work very closely with the United Way campaign Every year, the Montgomery County Commission is an industry leader in supporting our efforts at United Way. We do great work in the community in the areas of health, financial stability, basic needs, and education. And we have some exciting initiatives that we're working on. Every year, we like to come before the commission to formally kick off you all's campaign and remind you about what we do. And I like to go over what we call the 4 A's at our organization, which is assess, acquire, allocate, and account. One of the things that we do in the community every year is we go into all of our communities, including Montgomery County, and we conduct what we call a needs assessment. We find out what the most pressing needs are in our community, and then we go out and we acquire the funds needed to address those needs in the community. Then we allocate those funds to over 80 different programs and 40 different agencies in the River region that assist in those needs. And then we hold those agencies accountable for how they spend their program funding. So we are just asking that the County Commission back us in full support, as you always have, so that when we kick off this campaign for the County Commission, that it will be successful and fruitful and will continue to do the great work that we do. I have a story about a young girl by the name of Katrina, and I would just like to read it to you all. Katrina is a 7-year-old who often comes home to an empty apartment on days where her mom works her second job. She takes the box of macaroni and cheese her mom left out for her and heats it up in the microwave for dinner. Katrina is relieved to be home alone. Her uncle has been sleeping on their couch since he was evicted, and Katrina doesn't feel safe around him. Some nights, she's afraid to fall asleep. She was sent to the principal's office for falling asleep in class for the second time in a week, and Katrina is struggling in school and falling behind the other students in her class. She prays that her teacher won't call on her to read out loud again. Last time she had trouble reading, and some of her classmates laughed, and it made Katrina upset. This is just a story of one of many students in Montgomery County, and I'm going to turn it over to Ron Simmons to explain how we have planned to address these problems in our county and community.
Thank you, Austin. Good morning to the Commission. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you today. As Austin mentioned earlier, and Austin, if he's going to pass out a packet, he mentioned earlier about an annual needs assessment, community needs assessment that the River Region United Way conducts each year. In your emails after this session, you will also have a fact sheet regarding what we call the Bold Goal Coalition. So United Way's mission ultimately is to identify critical issues within our communities and identify the resources to solve those problems. Many of you know United Way as an organization that raises money for agencies, but I want to make sure I clear the record. United Way 2.0, the River Region United Way 2.0, is different. Our job is to identify the critical needs in the community and find the resources to solve those problems. So we look at ourselves more as problem solvers. And part of the process to solving those problems is funding. That's just a piece of it. But the other piece are identifying the resources such as agencies that have programs in order to solve these critical problems. In your packet, you'll see within the 5 counties, each of the counties' 5 top critical needs. But the bottom line is all of those needs drill down to poverty. But if we continue to look at the data, if we're really going to change and make a difference in this community, it boils down to education. You all are familiar with the Alabama Literacy Act, where the governor signed into law, where supposedly this year, end of the school year, if our 3rd graders are not reading at 3rd grade reading level, if they're not reading proficiently, they will repeat. In 2019, only 35% of our 3rd graders were reading proficiently in Montgomery County. Less than half of our 3rd graders in the entire region are reading less than grade level. And in this River Regions United Way, if we're going to solve problems in those 4 areas that Austin mentioned, financial stability, education, basic needs, and health, we've got to go upstream and identify the problem, solve the problem, and the problem is reading. Between pre-K and 3rd grade is where children learn to read. They make that leap from learning to read to reading to learn in the 4th grade. And if they're not learning to read, we will continue to have a systemic problem in financial stability. And the families won't be able to earn what they need to have good health care. They won't have the income that's needed to take care of the basic needs in their families. So we're asking that you partner with us with this Bold Goal Coalition that's made up and consists of community partners, whether that's local government, part of our chambers of commerce, is a part of our business community, our faith-based community, and it's part of our nonprofit. I believe that we have all the resources needed to solve this problem, but we can't do it in a vacuum. We can't do it as we have been doing it, and that is individually. It's going to take every one of us working together. It's going to take a bold goal in order to solve this problem. And that bold goal is all of us coming together in order to address the critical needs, working collectively. So we're asking, as we have the city of Montgomery, and we'll also be presenting to the Montgomery public school system to help us as a part of the American Rescue Plan Fund to provide for a 2-year program. Then you'll have a budget before you as well. A 2-year program, that budget is for 2 years, by the way, to really help us with this coalition, $1 million for this Literacy Act. We're partnering with the State Board of Education, and we're partnering with so many others to make sure this happens. There's an old African proverb that says it takes a village, and we have to do this collectively if we're really going to make a difference. And I want to make sure you all understand this is not a tutoring program. This is a program that takes agencies, whether it's a part of our 40-plus affiliate members, or if it's agencies outside of that, we're looking for problem solvers. It's going to be part of the faith-based community. It's going to take every one of us to make sure this happens. And we'll deal not only with just the education piece, but we'll be dealing with adult literacy to help the parents learn to read. We're going to help with education. We'll help with transportation. We'll help with mental illness and things of that nature where we have those resources available right now to pull them together. With that, I'll take your questions.
No, you've supplied us with good material. I'm going to read it over, been reading it over. Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate your efforts.
Thank you so much.
Next, Mike Thomas is here to discuss item number 13.
Good morning, everybody. Let me first apologize for my attire here. I got called out on a homicide scene this morning, number 59. The reason why I'm here is my staff, we have a number of Investigator 1 positions, actually too many and not enough Investigator 2 positions. Now, I was prepared to come before this commission and present my case, but just prior to coming over here, I got some news that someone was promoted on my staff and that I was not aware of it. So I don't know how to bring this forward to you at this time until I can figure out what's going on with my staff. Thank you.
We have several contract amendments to consider. Item number 7 is amendment number 2 to a contract with Chappie's Deli for an employee luncheon. Amendment number 1 to a contract with Troy Cablevision to add high-speed data from Annex 1 to Probate Revenue South. Amendment number 3 to a contract with Liberty Disposal to add a dumpster at the Election Center warehouse. Amendment number 2 to a contract with Chappie's Deli for catering food trays.
Next agenda.
Item number 11 is to consider the appointment of Vice Chairman Doug Singleton as Commission Representative of the Central Alabama Rural Planning Organization Steering Committee.
Next agenda.
If you recall, at the last meeting, there was some conversation about Marion Giles, and we've gotten updated contact information, and she wants to continue to serve on that board.
What board was that?
Central Alabama Rural Planning Organization Steering Committee.
She did decide to keep,
Yes,
so that board's full.
yes,
Doug,
yes.
yeah.
Item number 16 is a board member appointment to the Public Building Authority. At the last meeting, Commissioner Harris recommended the appointment of Mr. Michael Gibb to serve the remainder of Mr. Ward's term.
That's, Gibbs was an S.
I'm sorry,
Gibbs with an S.
Gibbs.
And I think I gave you his VTAC.
You did. So do we need one more?
Yes.
I thought Commissioner Walker was gonna get it.
I'm still working on that. I'll have a name by the next meeting.
We next agenda,
Yes, next.
Item number 17 is a job description for general counsel for the Montgomery County Commission and a brief summary of the role of a county attorney as prepared by ACCA. In order to, this job description is the basis of a process to move forward to consider creating the position.
I'd really like to sit down with you and Commissioner Walker and talk about it before we submit a job description on it. Well, and then the description is great in terms of what the duties are, but there are a couple other things that I think that an in-house attorney, if we're going to have somebody in-house, there are a couple other things that should be involved in it. And I think we should discuss it.
Okay.
And then,
Florence, would you please coordinate with mine and Commissioner Harris's calendar in the next, what's today, Tuesday?
This week.
Yeah, in the next week, at some point in the next week. Thank you.
I believe that covers all the items in our information session.
Florence, before we, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I want to go back up to the agency. I have one more addition I just got a text on.
Okay.
Southern Youth Leadership Development Institute, $5,000 from my agency funds. Florence, there it is. I wrote it down.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, we just got 5 minutes before our formal session.
30 minutes, or 10:30.
10:30.
Never got done this quick.
The
Okay,
work session went really
Yeah,
fast.
okay. All right, you got 30 minutes then. You discuss anything else?
We can get a report from our deputy administrator on the rental assistance
Okay,
program.
go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning. As of the end of September, Aramco has obligated $3.1 million. That includes $2.4 million that have been paid and an additional $690,000 that has been approved, which basically means it's on the way to be paid. This funding has assisted 432 tenants. It is expected at its current pace that all remaining funds for this stage of ERA will be spent within the next 6 to 8 weeks. We are anticipating somewhere around Thanksgiving. So that is
The
the,
remaining, what, 4 million?
the total we received was 6.7. So we're just about half of the way there, and we're anticipating that we're ramping up, so we're able to, think we'll be able to get the rest of this funding done by Thanksgiving.
Really?
Are we in line to take care of the round 2 as well? I understand we have some payments related to round 2. Are we on target for spending that as well?
Yes. Once we finish up with this funding, we'll be able to move toward the process of starting with Ramco 2. Yes, sir.
So where we are now, there's no concern about having to return any money to the treasury to redistribute it. I understand I read something whereby if you had not allocated your resources based on certain formula, that treasury would be asking you to redistribute those, say, within the state of Alabama. So we're not at risk for having to redistribute anything based upon not giving them out in a timely manner.
Correct. Treasury did, our current schedule has us not returning anything. Treasury did release information yesterday. They did say that they would be checking in with the agencies, and that if you had not spent a certain percentage by a given time, they would request that you submitted a program improvement plan by November, but we're expecting that we will have hit our thresholds and spent our funding by then. And the details of that program and what all has to go in that document has not yet been revealed, but we will keep an eye on everything that comes down from the Treasury to make sure that whatever happens, we are in compliance with everything that we need to be in compliance with. Any other questions? Thank you all.
Anything else?
We don't have any other items unless there are other things you want to discuss. Otherwise, we can recess until our 10:30 formal session.